Hey y'all, it's Emily, and welcome back to my channel. I'm going to be talking about Don Bluth's classic Thumbelina. It was one of my most favorite movies as a kid, and I still watch it to this day on occasion as a comfort film. There's so many fun songs and so much life in the animation with memorable characters, and I kind of feel that way about a lot of Don Bluth's productions, honestly. I love watching Thumbelina because it brings back the happy memories that I had with it. The first time I've ever watched it was on VHS at my grandmother's house years and years ago. It was around Christmas time, and we were visiting my grandma in Washington State. I had the chicken pox around that time too, so I feel like the movie has that extra layer of sentiment. And so back then, getting the movie was pretty exciting because this particular copy of Thumbelina had a charm bracelet with all the different characters from the movie, and I adored that bracelet so much. Unfortunately, as life goes, I lost it over time, but I vividly remember Thumbelina and Giacomo on the bracelet, and how excited I was to wear it while watching the movie. I watched that VHS over and over and over and over again. I'm honestly surprised that I didn't wear that thing out. So, talking about VHS kind of shows my age, but, enough backstory. Let's talk about the movie. So, this is based off the Hans Christian Andersen story of a girl no bigger than your thumb, thus the name Thumbelina. There was a lonely old woman that wanted a child of her own, and this fairy came and blessed her with this seed that turned into this beautiful blossom, and out pops Thumbelina. Thumbelina, at some points, she meets this fairy prince, and they fall in love, and they intended to get married, but she gets stolen away, and things get complicated. This toad wanted to marry her, and while Thumbelina had no interest in him, he persisted throughout the entire movie, doing whatever it took to get her. The one thing I will give the toad credit for is that while he was totally obsessed with her, he didn't seem to want to change her. The same cannot be said about his mother and a few other characters throughout the movie. His mother wanted to make her look more like a toad, more like her, and even commented how she was thinking about making her look blonde, and use her for show business and marry her off to the son so they can keep the money they earn in the family, as she'd put. It becomes a recurring theme throughout the movie where poor Thumbelina is seen as beautiful and talented, which she is, but the majority of people wanted to change her and make her into something they wanted. It gives the whole, oh, you're so pretty, but, you would be so much prettier if XYZ. Obviously, they didn't say it in those exact words, but you get the idea when you watch the movie throughout, where she's expected to look or act a certain way. Unfortunately, because Thumbelina was so young and naive, and the world, she was super impressionable, and she tried going along with things throughout the movie with these characters, and while at first she was having fun, she finds out that, she's not really into it in the end. She wants to go home. She wants to go home and live her happily ever after with her handsome prince. And there's this beetle, that thought she was gorgeous at first, but oh my gosh, that turned real quick, because the moment, some beetles at the beetle ball said that she was ugly, when her disguise fell apart, she basically made the beetle look bad, and he gave her the boot because she was quote-unquote ugly. And he continued to call her ugly throughout the movie to cement that for himself. And then there's the mole who, while rich and he wanted to provide for Thumbelina, he wanted her as a storyteller for his entertainment. And because I have a bit more input about the mole and Thumbelina's dynamic, I plan on doing a short later covering just that. So, back to over here. Thumbelina had almost lost herself completely by marrying the mole, or almost marrying the mole, because she thought Cornelius was dead. She thought she may as well marry the mole because he could provide for her, which is so sad because she shouldn't just be provided for, but to be loved fully and unconditionally. And while being cared for and provided for is an act of love, I don't feel like that's the case. I felt like it was more the mole collecting her for himself to add to his collection that he already has. This movie truly emanates true love in its own way. We've been seeing other people trying to make Thumbelina more or less whatever they wanted her to be. They expect her to change or allow them to change her to fit their idea of something more beautiful or fitting for them. Meanwhile, her fairy prince, Cornelius loved her as she was, and so did Giacomo the swallow. He beautifully reminded her of that after she got dumped by the stupid beetle. And just because she was ugly, Giacomo asked her, "Do you love the beetle?" "No." "Then never mind the beetle." And so when Thumbelina mentions Cornelius thinking she was beautiful, even getting a little shy and Twitter-pated mentioning it, of course Giacomo said that she was beautiful because, well, she is. We already know that. Giacomo gave her that reassurance she needed, which is still needed more in this society just in general, in my opinion. On top of that, you shouldn't feel like you need to change yourself to be more appealing. The right people will find you and love you for you. Whether it's in a more platonic sense or maybe something more, you will find somebody. Giacomo is a great example of that. He was a girl's girl and always looking out for Thumbelina in a platonic way, but faithfully trying to make her happy ending happen. He made it his mission to look for Cornelius so that they can reunite and she could be with her true love. And if that's not a friend, then I don't know what is. And I just appreciate that he wasn't someone that was interested in her romantically or was doing it for any personal gain. He just wanted to support her happiness and her well-being like real friends do. So maybe you might not meet the beauty standards in some people's eyes, but you will be beautiful to the right person or persons that actually will love you as you are. Everyone deserves to have that. To find their person that loves them, faults and all, as well as be able to want to love them back. It shouldn't be a one-way street like for a lot of things. And you shouldn't feel like you need to settle just because something didn't work out or feel like you don't deserve better. You don't need to give up, to resign yourself for something that may be, well, subpar. When you could be given a gold crown, why settle for a paper hat? There's something that I read in the recent months that hit me a little. Be yourself so people looking for you can find you. So please, be yourself. Don't dim yourself down, and the right people will find you, just like Cornelius found Thumbelina. You might come across a few toads and beetles and moles along the way, but one day you may just find your fairy prince or princess. Well, that's enough for me. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, friends, goodbye.